one of the largest cities in the Americas that fits the time frame of the Book of Mormon. I think it is one of the largest Lamanite cities from the Book of Mormon. The archaeology fits, the descriptions fit. It's a well-documented archaeological site that fits the right time frame. It's called Pinson Mounds, and it's located in the southwest Tennessee area. This is the Wikipedia site for the Pinson Mounds. As it says here, it's a prehistoric Native American complex. It includes a number of mounds. This says 17 mounds. At the site, it says up to 30 mounds. Among those mounds, there's a very large central mound, over 70 feet tall, called Saul's Mound. There's a picture there on the right for you. And it also has several rectangular platform mounds, a number of burial mounds, and other types of things. The Wikipedia site says that the site dates from 1 to 500 AD. So it's located in this southwestern Tennessee area between Nashville and Memphis, just south of the town Jackson. So as we pull into the site just south of Jackson, it's a river that flows northwest and then joins the Mississippi River as it flows south. It's a wooded area, the South Forked Deer River. And this whole area is the site. It's 400 acres in size, and then this river flows, as I said, up northwest, up towards the Mississippi River. Most of the civilization areas, the villages, the cities that exist are along the various rivers, most of which are tributaries to the Mississippi River, whether it's tributaries to the Ohio, then the Mississippi, or directly to the Mississippi River. There are a couple of professors, Mainford and Quass. You'll notice that they give slightly different dates for the site. They say 200 BC to 400 AD. So the dates can vary depending on the archaeologist involved. Now, this was done by a man named William E. Meyer in 1922. He was sent out by the Smithsonian to get information about the site, and he did a survey of the site and did a map. He depicts in the site it encompasses about 400 acres. Poverty Point, Louisiana site is also 400 acres in size. There are cultural aspects to that site which match other Hopewell timeframe sites, which make me think that the Poverty Point site actually fits the Book of Mormon timeframes. And one of those similarities is the 400-acre size. Another one of the similarities is the 70-foot high tall central mound. And then another one of the similarities are some of the artifacts that are found at the site, which show a common culture and exchange, meaning that the Pinson Mounds and the Poverty Point site had to overlap in time frame. It's depicted in 3 areas: a western area, an eastern area, and a central area. There's a large central mound, which again was called the Saul's Mound. It's just a little over 70 feet tall. And then there's also large mounds throughout the site. William Meyer, he depicts walls going all the way around the site. When he went there in the early 1900s and he spoke with the old original farmers in the area and the settlers in the area, they affirmed and said that there were breastworks, a kind of a breastwork is earthwork or wood or whatever that gets up to, chest high kind of thing, type of thing you would use for a partial fortification or to demark the limits of the site. And that, as he wrote here, he felt that they were probably topped with palisades as well. Well, up here, there were traces of breastworks that were still in existence, confirmed by settlers. And then what William Meyer did is, based off of that and the descriptions, he assumed or proposed that it went all the way around the site. So as he says, probable line of palisades, probable palisade, and so forth. He depicted this eastern area as having a wall all the way around it. Now, currently, there's only a semicircle there. And so there's a dispute and a question about whether this was kind of a a wall that went all the way around it, or whether there was some other kind of use for the portion of the walls that are seen there. There's not any good map of it before that time frame, and any subsequent maps have less information. Okay, so just at the beginning here, this is the Saul's Mound, the main central mound, and it's a good that it has the people there, so you can kind of get an idea of the size of it. Now, this is not a hill. This is not natural at all. This was completely filled in with earth, and they've taken soil samples and things and verified that this was all man-made.
Tons of artifacts that have been found here. There's not a whole lot of variety in those because this place was highly looted back in the early 80s and 70s, so we don't have a whole lot that's left for us to find on the mounds. But there's still a whole bunch of cool stuff that we find here, such as points that were used in atlatls and also spear points. We have gorgets that were found that were used as a decorative instrument. And we also have the clay cooking balls. It's almost a 300 foot wide by 200 foot circumference on the bottom. So it's a very, very large footprint.
Wow.
Also, if you were to put all this dirt into dump trucks, if you had dump trucks back to back, bumper to bumper, it would be 27 miles of dump trucks.
That much dirt is here.
There's 8.2 million cubic feet of dirt in this mound. A lot of the dirt was also brought into the site.
So what evidence is out there that shows where dirt has been brought in from other places, even other states?
So just like some of the rocks and say copper from Canada that we can see, we know exactly where that copper came from. We can also do that with some types of dirt. Some types of dirt are very common. Some is only specific to one general region, so that's how we can see where they actually came from.
Right, and you've got dirt from, what's the furthest away that dirt's come from?
So right now, what we're guessing is that it was South Georgia.
You're kidding. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's far away too.
That's nuts.
One of the most striking features here at the site is behind us, the twin mounds. So there's a lot of very unique archaeology, incredible discoveries that were here at the twin mounds. What's the basic history? What do we know about it so far?
So this mound is a double conical mound, kind of two mounds put together. We actually found 6 tombs in it, 4 of which were open. There were several different artifacts that came out of those tombs. So this is some of the burial goods and replicas that we actually got out of Twins Mound, which was a conical mound of 2 mounds put together. One of the mounds were excavated, the Northern Twin was, and we actually found some of this stuff in it. We had one tomb that had some females in it, and they were gorgeous, ornate stuff. Beads that were envy. The pearls that we see today are actually our freshwater pearls that we have native to Tennessee. And they actually had a whole bunch. One of the ladies actually had 5 strands of them on her.
Wow.
Another thing cool is the Marginella beads from the Gulf Coast. They were almost as the white as the pearls, and they were just ornate around their ankles. It's like anklets that we wear today. In the men's tombs, we actually found some really cool stuff. We actually found a boat stone, a schist pendant, which was very large for that time, and a Mica mirror.
Mica mirrors have been found at a couple of different Hopewell type sites. In a previous video, I mentioned a Mica mirror, for example, that was found at in a Hopewell mound in Circleville, Ohio. And then what you have here with a pendant and boat stone are examples of a high level of craftsmanship. So this was not just crude crafts. There was, in parts, high level craftsmanship for some of the artifacts. Another thing that she said is found in this mound were a couple of rattles. These were small rattles that were worn around the knee and have interesting design on one, an interesting design on the other one. On the design over here, she talks about the potential theories of what the designs are. She presents the theory that this may be a diagram of the site, the Pinson Mounds site, presented in a manner here because the site had a causeway that goes up to the central mound. That Saul's mound that we showed, you can't really tell. It looks just like a big mound, but it actually has 4 edges to it. So it's a little bit shaped more like a pyramid at the bottom, where it has 4 corners at the bottom that fit the cardinal directions north, south, east, west. This particular diagram shows is the Pinson Mounds area and how things that are found at the site have been sourced from far away, from different places. The secondary information that this provides you is it gives you a little bit of an idea of the extent of the Hopewell culture, or what I think is the Nephite Lamanite civilization, the extent and reach of their civilization and population. And what it shows is that they were throughout the eastern United States, up into Canada, and then also sourced at the very least source materials all the way out to the Rocky Mountains.
So we have a whole bunch of stuff that's traveled all over the country just to get to this site. One of the cool things is, of course, mica. We have some natural deposits in Tennessee, but we didn't know about them until we started mining. They were not ground level where Native Americans could get to them. So they had to travel actually from West Virginia and a little bit south of that to come over here. Another thing that's really neat is copper. So copper was actually used on the headdresses in some of our burials and used as earpieces in some of them. That had to travel all the way from Canada. So it had to come across the Great Lakes or around the Great Lakes to get down here. The reason we know it specifically came from that is because that's the only ground level ore that you can get around here on this side of the country.
Okay.
Just same way with the obsidian that we have here. It had to cross the Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River to get over here.
Obsidian was important because it could be made extremely sharp, and it was used by the Native Americans in the eastern U.S., Hopewell, both in the north and in the south, and then it was also used in Mesoamerica for blades, which could be used for weapons and for tools.
Crystal, those things are gorgeous and anything. And we actually have some beads and stuff that are made and pieces of jewelry that are made from that.
Wow.
Another thing is the Marginella beads from the Gulf Coast down in Georgia and Alabama. The cool thing about Osier is that if you can look, you can still see that ramp that they used to get up and down the mound.
The Temple of Solomon was an elevated rectangular area. In the eastern U.S., you have elevated rectangular platform mounds, which may have some similarities to where the Temple of Solomon was. Now, with the Temple of Solomon in the Old Testament, it describes that for at least parts of the area that they had ramps instead of stairs for where the priests would ascend. In the eastern United States, for most of the mounds, there are ramps instead of any kind of stairs.
We suggest that means that it was highly used, and we've even got evidence of it being used for about 1,000 years. We actually have discovered a hearth in 2019. It's one of our earlier discoveries that is kind of new, and it has a walkway or pathway, some kind of path to the base, the central base of this Osier mound.